Hey, Hail Stalkers, I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the Midwest right now. We have a long line of storms moving through Chicago at the moment, and this is warned for some very strong wind. That's going to be the biggest threat right here, 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds. That is very strong wind. Actually, I think this is a downgrade from the warning earlier that was an 80-mile-per-hour wind warning. So before we go right down into Chicago, we'll get there here in just a minute. I want to show you this long line of storms that we have ongoing right now. So anywhere from the central portion of Wisconsin all the way to Green Bay, just down the coastline into Chicago and into the southern portion of Illinois, we have ongoing severe thunderstorm warnings. And these storms have a history of producing 90-mile-per-hour wind speeds or even greater than that. If you take a look at the severe thunderstorm warning that's going into Chicago right now, you can see that the entire city is warned for some sort of severe hazard. So let's take a look at the northernmost side of the city, 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds, almost 6 million people impacted or inside of this warning. 80-mile-per-hour wind speeds for the southern side of Chicago. This area of the storm actually had a tornado warning associated with it just a few minutes ago. That tornado warning has been allowed to drop. However, still very strong wind gusts going through the city. Let's take a look at some of our already reported wind gusts right here. We have a personal weather station measuring 65-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Not too bad. Okay, 65 we can deal with. 60 to 65-mile-per-hour wind speeds in this area just between Aurora and Chicago. 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Okay, now this is whenever it gets very intense. Just south of Aurora, just to the north of Joliet, 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds estimated with small branches down. And of course, you know, this is the time of day people are starting to get out, maybe making that route home. You may come into some areas that have small branches down across the roadway. Speaking of the roadway, here we go. Tree blocking the road around 0.5 miles south of IL 126 on Schlapp Road. Time right around 3:25. So this didn't happen too long ago. These storms are moving pretty quickly. They're moving at about 60 miles an hour. Actually picking up speed from what we saw earlier in the day, about 55 miles an hour. If we zoom out, and oh, just by the way, let us know where you're watching from today. I'd love to know where you guys are watching from so that we know exactly what areas to cover. Again, if we zoom out and we talk about the central to southern portion of Illinois, 59-mile-per-hour wind gusts from a personal weather station. We appreciate you guys reporting those. We have a severe thunderstorm warning moving into Champaign right now. But hey, wind is not the only risk that we have on the board for today. We also have a ton of hail and tornado warnings. Now, these are going to be back in northern Missouri. Let's take a look at this. I think this is our confirmed tornado warning. Tornado warning and ping pong ball size hail. This is right on the Missouri and Iowa state line. It's moving to the east near Corydon, Garden Grove, High Point, and Houston. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's still moving pretty fast, okay, at about 40 miles an hour. Pretty fast, okay? Let's take a look at some of these other severe thunderstorm warnings. 60 miles an hour, but a potential tornado inside of that storm. We've gotten some reports of tornadoes. This tornado report corrects another tornado report. So it's from 4 miles east of Mercer. The public recorded a video of a tornado on the ground. That was in Mercer. So again, if we zoom out, this is going to be in the northern portion of Missouri and southern side of Illinois. That's where all of the big action is. The other storms, that's really going to be more of a wind threat. Everyone else is going to be more of a hail and a tornado threat. And as long as these storms can stay pretty isolated, the storm going into Quincy, very isolated. It's the only game in town. No one's around it. That storm has a really good chance of producing some large hail. Let's see if it's matured enough. What do we have this warned for? Quincy. The warning is for golf ball size hail. Largest hail we've seen in a warning all day long. And it really just speaks to how isolated this storm is. If it can stay isolated, if these little storms don't get in the way, then I think that we can see that continue to stay pretty strong as it moves into Quincy. John, do we have anyone who has mentioned where they're watching from
Michigan
today? Central west side of Michigan. Okay, so you guys still have a little bit until these storms get to you, but you can see that line of storms right now is going to make its way across the Great Lakes. That will slowly get into the western side of Michigan. You could also see storms develop on their own. We're already starting to see that, but nothing is severe right now. Madison, Wisconsin. You guys got tons of wind earlier today. I mean, I would love to know, did you see any damage from that? Because this area, I mean, this was one of our first storms today that we were like, holy moly, this is a wind bag. Let me see if I can go back just a few hours here and show this to you as it came in. Okay, there we go. Noon, we've got storms down in the southwestern side of Wisconsin. We already knew that it was going to be a ton of wind, but do you see this bowing structure right here? This bowing structure right here basically is a strong push of wind, and what that tells us is we are going to see some very, very strong wind gusts. It didn't let up. As it continued into Madison, it continued with this strong, very widespread strong wind across the state, and we had, let's see what our most impressive wind reports are. Approximately a 6-inch tree branch down, 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts just on the south side of Madison, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with an anemometer. So that's a very, very accurate reading. Report of a large tree branch down on the home. I mean, this was our first sign that this line of storms was going to be a wind producer. We were really, really impressed with those storms that came through Madison today. Our meteorologists have tracked that, and those wind maps are updated at hailtrace.com if you want to see the wind maps through Wisconsin today. Now, John, I saw that you put another location on the board, but I didn't get to read that. We're also talking about Hillside, Illinois. So Illinois has storms across the entire state right now. Let me see where Hillside is. You guys love to test my job. Okay, so you guys are getting hit right now in Hillside. You guys are right outside of Chicago. I'm pretty sure this is correct. So you guys have some really, really strong or heavy rain ongoing right now. You can see that from those areas highlighted there in red. Now, just to the west of y'all, you have a few wind reports, what we were seeing earlier, between 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, but this storm is warned for 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Let's see if I can get a better idea of where Hillside is. Just to the south of Elmhurst and north of Oak Brook, to the west of Oak Park. Okay. You're right in this area, right? Look how close I got, right there. So yeah, you guys are almost out of it. So here's the good news. The biggest part has passed you. So the heaviest rain has already passed you. It's just going to get better from here. So you've got some light rain coming your way. That rain will slowly lighten up. And then you may have a little bit of rain for a little bit, so it may be kind of on and off for the rest of the evening. And then you may have more developing storms later on today and into early tomorrow. So we're talking about the overnight here. Let's actually take a look at your Chicago forecast. Your Chicago forecast, this is what we put out earlier today. We said 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. and we were pretty close about that 4 p.m. mark. Storms came in a little early, but for the most part, we did a really good job with this timeline today. Now, these storms, this is not the only round of severe weather you're going to get. Another round of storms later on tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So we have this timeline going all the way until 1 a.m. After this first line of storms passes, you'll be good for a little bit. But by the time the sun goes down, I want you to have multiple ways to get severe weather alerts because we could have another windstorm come in later on this evening. So we're talking about like the late evening hours and into early tomorrow morning. Your hail risk here is going to be pretty minimal. I'm not too worried about hail. You can see that I've got maximum hail size at ping pong balls, but it's going to be a very, very low risk for that. I said about a 30% chance potential for you guys to get hail here. It's going to be more of a wind threat today. We're already seeing that now. We're going to continue to see that through the evening hours as we watch what these storms do. They become more numerous over the last few hours. We started out with one just to the north of St. Joe, and now we have 2 confirmed tornadoes on the ground right now. One, it's these areas highlighted in purple right here. Do you see that? One right here, another right here, and I'm going to double check on that just to make sure I'm telling you guys the right thing. Second. Oh. Yes, yeah, 3 confirmed tornadoes on the ground at the moment. And you can see it right here. 1, 2, 3 confirmed tornadoes in southern Iowa and northern Missouri. Now, I know this is not a terribly populated area of the U.S. However, as it moves farther to the east, you're going to get into some more of those bigger cities like Quincy, Springfield, Peoria. That's going to be later on tonight. These storms are moving at about 50 to 60 miles an hour right now. So if we put a timeline on this, you've got about an hour and a half, 2 hours until we see these storms get to the state line, Iowa to Illinois state line. Quincy, keep an eye on this one down here, and then we've got this line of storms that will continue to track to the east. Now, I'm not going to lie, right now it looks like they're getting in each other's way. What that means is it's getting a little too crowded in here, so we're going to see that risk change over from a hail risk to a wind risk. Anytime it gets a little too crowded, that hail risk immediately goes down. We need decent inflow. We need space to organize for these storms to produce large hail. If we don't do that, which I'm kind of seeing that happen right now, it may become more of a wind day than it is a hail day. Do we have any weather questions? Before I move on, I really want to focus on this Quincy storm.
Yes, we do.
We do have weather questions, okay. Where is the hail most likely? Perfect timing. I would say this is your hailer right here. You want these isolated storms. This is the most isolated storm that you have. Warned for golf ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, the perfect storm for hail. There's no other storms nearby, at least for now. And you got a little bit down to the south, so you got to watch these in Montgomery City. They're not in the perfect space to become an issue quite yet. The storm that's coming into Quincy, this is going to be the one that you want to watch out for. Other than that, your other hailers will be these right here. Southern Iowa, northern Missouri. Let's take a look at this one, your northernmost storm, 1-inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Storm right across the state line into Missouri, also warned for 1-inch size hail, but remember we have that confirmed tornado on the backside of that. We like to call these tail end Charlies. They're the southernmost storm. Oftentimes they get the best inflow and then they don't have any other storms around them, which really, really helps with that organization. Warned for golf ball size hail. That is just outside of St. Joe, Missouri, across the Kansas-Missouri line in Missouri. That is the only storm, I mean, really the significant storm that we see in Missouri, but look at this. We've got more forming behind it. So we've got more storms if you just kind of draw a line down into Kansas. We've got a few more storms that are trying to pop up. This one could go into St. Joe, and as they all slowly move to the east just a little bit, that's whenever Kansas City becomes in the risk. What was my timeline for Kansas City today? I had 4 to 11 o'clock. Okay, so we're seeing storms just to the north of you guys at the moment, but we still have until 11 o'clock tonight. Let's see what time. I think we're looking at the NAM model right here. The NAM wants to keep storms just a little bit to the north of Kansas City, so we'll have to see what actually happens, if this can sink to the south enough or if it just misses Kansas City to the north. I'm not quite sure. What are other questions?
We have Tennessee.
Tennessee. I think Tennessee's in the clear right now, but I can check. Dave is asking about Tennessee. Now, you guys may have better chances for storms later on this week, but you are in the clear right now. Not even a drop of rain at the moment in Tennessee. What about your severe risk later this week? So we basically do a copy-paste forecast from today to tomorrow. It doesn't move too much. We get Kentucky just barely in that risk for tomorrow. Then we have another risk for storms on Friday. That moves out to the East Coast. Tennessee is included in that risk, but just barely on the east side. And then on Saturday, we move right back into this area that we're covering right now, Omaha, Kansas City, southern Iowa, northern Missouri, those areas of storms that are happening right now. Keep an eye on this weekend. We do have storms this weekend. We can tell that right now. Let's see, what other questions today?
That's it so far.
All good on questions. Okay, great. Well, I want to keep an eye on this Quincy storm. We have a brand new hail update here, our hail report in Paris, Missouri. Paris with golf ball size hail. Okay, that's the largest hailstone that we've seen so far today. But we're just getting started here. We call between about 5 and 7 o'clock power hour because that's usually whenever we see the most hailstones, the largest hail, and the most tornadoes. So this is not something that we're going to just, sit back and watch today. This is something that we're going to be actively posting about and engaging with your questions about as we head into the evening hours. I'm not going to stay on here too long right now for our live purposes because I want to make sure that we get things on other forms of social media. So make sure you follow us on all forms of social media. We're really good at keeping that monitored and answering your questions. And make sure that you head over to hailtrace.com to get upgraded or updated with the latest storms that hit. We have a subscription service over there that you can see when storms hit. We'll send you an alert, and you guys will get an alert whenever there's large hail. And then you can also see the map of where storms hit. Was it hail? Was it wind? Was it a tornado? We'll let you know. 855-334-4245. Give us a call or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Head over to our website, hailtrace.com, for more information on the hail maps, wind maps, and tornado maps that we provide. And as always, follow us on all forms of social media. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here in a few hours for your radar update.